So in this video, we're going to be learning about something called the chain rule. The chain rule is a way of deriving composite functions, which means that there's two functions inside, one function inside of another. For instance, if we have a function like f of x of g of x, we have g of x inside of f of x being evaluated. So to find whatever this might equal as a derivative, we would use the chain rule. And the chain rule simply states that if you take the derivative of your composite function, so let's say we have our function capital G of x is equal to f of g of x, then the chain rule tells us that the derivative of g of capital G of x is equal to the derivative of f of g of x times the derivative of g of x. Now, using the chain rule, we can solve, again, composite functions. So an example of a composite function would be like cosine squared of x, or we could have something like log base 10 of 4 plus 2x, right? So we have our outside function. In the cosine squared of x case, we have x squared. We have one function being x squared, the other function being cosine of x, right? And in the log base 10, we have log base 10 of x being one function, and 4 plus 2x being the other function. So let's do a practice run of using the chain rule. So let's say we wanted to derive e of e to the power of 4x plus 2. So using the chain rule, we would say that the derivative in terms of x of e to the power of 4x plus 2 is equal to the, well, first let's define our function. So our outside function is e to the x. Our inside function, I'll actually call the outside function v of x, and the inside function we'll call u of x, which is, so v of x is equal to e to the x, and then u of x is obviously equal to 4x plus 2. So if we were to evaluate this, we take the derivative of v to the u of x, to the u of x, and multiply that by u, the derivative of u of x. And when we do that, we get the derivative of e of x, which is, which is e of x, and then we get, so we simply take the derivative of v of x and plug in u of x. So what we get is e to the 4x plus 2 multiplied by the derivative of u of x. So the derivative of u of x is equal, well, what's the derivative of this function? 2 is 0, the derivative of 2 is 0, and the derivative of 4x is simply 4. So we get times 4. So to summarize this, the derivative of d of x, the derivative of e to the 4x plus 2 is equal to e to the 4x plus 2 times 4. And that is an example of how we would use the chain rule.